Goodness me, 2 tags in 2 days. What on earth is happening here? Hello, everybody. Welcome to and welcome back to my channel, Book Time with Elvis. And yes, I have a tag for you today. I have the Finish the Book tag, not the Finish Book tag. That's a different one about the literature of Finland. But this is the Finish the Book tag. And obviously the spelling, of course, would be different. Before everyone starts commenting and saying, you're an English teacher, you should know better. I do know better, but I'm saying it rather than writing it, of course. And I thought I was tagged a couple of times in this one, but as far as I can see, it was only Greg, not only Greg, but it was very kind of Greg at Another Bibliophile Reads to tag me in this. The original creator is unknown. Also, I actually thought I'd done it, so I had to search through my tags, which are quite a few, to see if I did. It looks like I haven't, though some of the questions do seem, or prompts rather, do seem a tad familiar. But let's jump in there, shall we? Do you keep a list of the books you have read? Yes, I do. I use Goodreads primarily for that function in order to know what I've read. However, I've only been on Goodreads probably coming up to 5 years. So I did used to keep like a reading log, but you know, with moving around and stuff, it's misplaced. Though I'm generally pretty good at knowing what I've read or not. I mean, maybe I couldn't recall it to give you a long list of all the books I've read, of course, but you know, if I'm in a bookshop and I pick up a book, I know pretty much already by the title if I've read it or not throughout my life. But you know, maybe sometimes, you know, as I get older, perhaps it might be more difficult to recall the experience of having read it. Number 2, what stats do you record? I don't really know exactly what is meant by that in terms of, like, you know, am I recording how many pages each book was, something like that. I did start using Storygraph at some point last year, but I thought once I'd exported from Goodreads, imported to Storygraph. I thought I only had to do that once, and it turns out I have to do that again, or either enter the data manually. And you know, it was just too trying. You know, just far too trying. So no, I don't really. But I do plan, because you know, a couple of friends of mine have got on my back a little bit and said, you know, your Storygraph is a disgrace, Mark. So I might have to do that in order to look at the stats, because I do find them interesting. I just don't take it upon myself necessarily to record them. I do keep a notebook. If I'm on the Kindle, I will highlight it and keep the notes within the Kindle. But I do keep a notebook close by with you know, particular notes or things that I find interesting from physical books. I'm not somebody who particularly feels comfortable writing in my books. I used to, of course, at school when I was doing English literature, because I had to, and plus we could take, in certain cases, we could take the book into the exam. So obviously it was handy to have a very good annotated copy of something like Henry V or Othello or Canterbury Tales. So yeah, but I don't think I really record anything else. Star ratings, that's the third prompt. Do you give star ratings? I do. However, if you follow me on Goodreads, I wouldn't necessarily follow my star ratings, because I'm extremely generous, for one thing. I rarely give below 3 stars. I like to give 5 stars, and 4 stars is occasional. So for me, yes, I suppose 5 stars is exceptional. But I seem to be very lucky. I choose books kind of that I know that I'm going to like. So that's probably the discrepancy between, you know, the fact that a lot of my books show as being 5 or 4 star reads. 4 stars means I'll definitely reread it in the future. And then 3 stars is like, well, it's not really, it was okay. It was good. I may go back to it depending on what's happening in the future and whether or not, you know, my tastes have changed or something like that, perhaps. So number 4, do you review your books? If you mean write reviews or give reviews on this channel or write reviews on Goodreads, not really. I don't think I'm particularly gifted at giving reviews. I mean, I think sometimes there's a bit of a misnomer of, you know, Like, for example, someone like Jack, I think, at the Rambling Raconteur is very good at giving reviews, because he will, review the book. He will pull out other books related to it, and he creates a whole wonderful experience there. And I'm not so good at that, but I'm quite happy to give you my opinions on the book and what I found interesting or not interesting, and what I liked and didn't like. But I don't think that's exactly a review, because I do keep it very much personal. So I think you should be impersonal when you are, to some degree, giving a review. You should be standing back and looking at it. But that's, again, that could just be my opinion. But I don't feel I'm good enough to give you what you deserve in terms of a proper book review. I thought, I would have thought giving my opinions, for example, would have counted. But I've since learned, having been on here for a couple of years now, that it's not quite the same thing. So no, not really. Although I would like to. It's certainly something I'm working on and building towards, and perhaps in the future you will see, I think, book reviews as they're meant to be. But, it does take time. It's a work in progress, and I doubt anything will happen until the summer, when I have time off to really work on it. Where do you put your finished books? Is prompt number 5. Well, back on the shelf. I mean, I don't know what else I should say with that, particularly. But yes, they go back on the shelf, not necessarily in the same place, because I don't really have a particular system when it comes to how my books are arranged. I suppose, if anything, it's more by publisher, I suppose, on my bookcase. But that only really counts for the classics. I'm just looking at them now. Maybe I don't know if it's worth doing a library tour, or a library. I mean, I don't know. It's it would literally be a bookshelf tour, or a bookcase tour, I suppose. I do have 3 bookcases. That's not too bad. And then plus this lot behind me as well. So it's not. Yeah, maybe I could do that again. So yeah, I tend to put them back on the shelf. Though if they're ebooks, is it the equivalent of putting them back on the shelf? I actually remove the download. I don't delete the file, of course, but I send it back to the cloud once I'm done with it. So, yeah. Number 6, how do you pick your next book? Well, I like to be blindfolded and just run a finger along my bookcase until Elvis says stop, and then whatever book I no, of course not. It's difficult. I mean, these days I'm quite committed to a lot of booktube events and booktube reading, buddy reads, read-alongs, readathons, whatever you want to call them. So that means those books are picked for me, and then the rest are generally mood picks, and that mood, I think, fluctuates every 2 to 3 books. So probably I can read 2, maybe 3 books on a similar topic, especially when it comes to something like non-fiction, which I do greatly enjoy. And then I get tired of that topic for a while, and it will be several months before I revisit it. I've never gone off it completely, but it's kind of like a rotation for me. So yeah. And do you have any rituals when you finished the book? Yes, I like to set fire to it and then dance around it naked. I don't know. What is my ritual? I suppose a ritual is getting on here and telling you about it, giving you my opinion, not a review, of course, but giving you my opinion. I don't know what. Yeah, it's interesting. What rituals have I got when I finish a book? I mean, there are certain people I will go to, and just say, hey, you've got to check this out. This is a great book, and then more often than not these days, they say, oh, I'm on a book buying ban, or oh, I'm on the 500 book challenge. I can't do anything about it. So I'm like, oh, okay, fine. It's tough luck for you, really. But no, I don't think I have any special rituals when it comes to finishing the book. I don't know who to tag, because I don't know who's done it. I think it's gone around a while. If the creator's unknown, it's probably quite an old tag, I'm guessing. So I'm going to cop out on this one, really, and just say, hey, if you watched it, if you enjoyed it, and you want to do your own version, then consider yourself tagged. Okay, everybody, thanks so much for watching. Do take care, and I'll see you again soon, probably tomorrow, for a live show, a Friday Reads Live. And that's about books, not about tarot, though of course we're open-minded. We could probably give it a go. All right, everybody, bye for now.